Dear child, take a slow breath and let your body settle before reading this, because this message is meant to calm you, not overwhelm you. It is meant to ground you in truth, not pull you into fear or fantasy. What you have been sensing in your heart has not been random, and it has not been ignored. Heaven has been working quietly, steadily, patiently, while you were learning how to wait without losing yourself. And now the message is becoming clear in simple, human words. Your person has already made a choice inside themselves, not a rushed choice, not an emotional impulse, not a fantasy built on desire. This was a choice formed through struggle, prayer, hesitation, resistance, and finally clarity. For a long time, they were torn, not because they didn't feel deeply for you, but because they did. Loving you was never the problem. The problem was the weight of what loving you would require. It meant honesty. It meant courage. It meant possibly disappointing people they care about. It meant stepping away from what felt safe and familiar and choosing what felt true. They tried to silence their feelings. They tried to reason them away. They tried to tell themselves it would pass. They tried to distract themselves with work, responsibilities, people, and logic. But nothing worked, because what they feel for you does not come from surface attraction. It comes from recognition. From the moment they truly saw you, something shifted inside them. They saw your heart. They saw your integrity. They saw your softness that didn't come from weakness, but from strength that had survived pain. They saw how you stayed kind without needing approval, how you stayed steady without demanding reassurance, how you stayed real without performing for love. And that kind of presence leaves a mark. You may not even realize what you carry, because you don't advertise it. You don't force yourself into people's lives. You don't demand to be chosen. You simply are who you are. And that quiet authenticity is what undid them. They felt peace around you. They felt clarity. They felt a strange sense of home they couldn't explain. And once that kind of recognition happens, it cannot be undone. You can delay it. You can resist it. But you cannot erase it. Their family, their environment, their responsibilities, their fears all played a role in slowing things down. Some voices questioned the connection. Some raised concerns. Some tried to steer them toward what looked easier, safer, or more acceptable. And for a while, those voices were loud. They made your person hesitate. They made them pull back. They made them stay quiet. And from your side, that silence may have felt like rejection, confusion, or mixed signals. But the truth is, their silence was never about you not being enough. It was about them being afraid of what choosing you would change. Over time, something became impossible to ignore. The more they tried to step away, the heavier their heart felt. The more they tried to comply with expectations, the more empty it felt. They realized that staying comfortable would cost them something sacred. They realized that losing you would leave a regret they could not outgrow. And that realization became stronger than fear. This is where the shift happened. They stopped asking, "What will people say?" and started asking, "Can I live without this?" They stopped trying to manage outcomes and started listening to their inner truth. And that truth kept pointing to you, not as a fantasy, but as a partner, not as an escape, but as a future, not as excitement, but as peace. They are no longer confused. They are no longer weighing options. They are no longer entertaining distractions. They have already decided in their heart that you are the one they want to build with. That decision has settled deeply. It is no longer loud or chaotic. It is calm, firm, clear. And when a decision reaches that place, it does not get shaken by outside pressure. They are not coming toward you with uncertainty anymore. They are coming with intention, with seriousness, with respect. They are thinking beyond romance. They are thinking about real life with you, the everyday moments, the responsibilities, the emotional safety, the partnership. They want a love that grows, not burns out. They want peace, not confusion. They want something lasting, and they see that possibility in you. You need to understand something important for your own healing. You were never an option. You were never a placeholder. You were never someone they settled for. You are the one who stayed with them in their thoughts when everything else faded. You are the one who returned in their prayers. You are the one whose presence brought clarity instead of chaos. That is why they couldn't let go, even when they tried. Your stillness played a powerful role in this. You didn't chase. You didn't beg. You didn't collapse into fear. Even when you were hurting, you stayed grounded. Even when you questioned yourself, you didn't lose your dignity. You kept your faith. You kept your standards. You kept your heart open without losing your self-respect. And that spoke louder than words ever could. They saw that. They felt that. And it made them realize this connection was real. Now, they are preparing themselves internally, not rushing recklessly, but aligning carefully. They want to approach you the right way. They want to be emotionally ready. They want to come with clarity, not confusion, with honesty, not half-truths, with courage, not fear. They are asking God for timing, not permission. They already know who they've chosen. For you, this is not a call to wait anxiously or put your life on pause. This is a call to rest, to release the need to analyze every silence, to stop doubting your worth, to stop replaying the past and asking what you did wrong. You didn't fail. You didn't imagine this. You didn't love foolishly. You loved honestly, and honesty always finds its way back to you. Movement is happening. Even if it's quiet, decisions have been made. Even if they haven't been spoken yet, the energy between you is changing. When they come, you will feel the difference. You won't have to question it. You won't have to decode it. Their presence will feel grounded. Their words will feel clear. Their actions will match their intentions. Until then, stay rooted in peace. Protect your heart without closing it. Keep being who you are. You don't need to become louder, smaller, better, or different to be chosen. You already were. And what has been chosen with truth cannot be undone by fear. This is not the end of the story. It is the moment before clarity arrives, and you are not behind. You are right where you need to be. You are not just someone they think about from time to time. In their heart, you have become something much deeper. You feel like a promise they didn't fully understand at first, but now cannot ignore. They are no longer ashamed of how strongly they feel. They are no longer trying to hide, downplay, or explain it away. Something inside them has settled, and with that settling has come courage. They are not backing down anymore. They have reached a point where fear is losing its grip. Before, they worried too much about what people would say, how things would look, and whether choosing their own heart would disappoint others. They tried to be careful, to please everyone, to follow expectations. That pressure made them feel small, confused, and divided inside. But now, something has shifted. They feel God's presence, giving them strength. And that strength is slowly replacing fear. When they think about you, they don't feel chaos or uncertainty anymore. They feel clarity. They feel peace. They feel joy that doesn't need excitement to survive. It's quiet, steady, and real. They've noticed that your memory doesn't bring anxiety into their body. It brings calm. It doesn't drain them. It restores them. And that has taught them something important. What comes from God brings life, not confusion. They are beginning to understand that real love produces good fruit. It doesn't manipulate. It doesn't threaten. It doesn't rush or pressure. It doesn't come with fear attached to it. What they feel toward you is gentle but strong, soft but firm. It's patient. It's kind. It's faithful. And because of that, they trust it more now than they ever did before. You are not like anyone else they've known. There is a softness in you that feels safe, and a strength in you that doesn't need to prove itself. You don't love loudly, but you love deeply. You wait with grace. You move with intention. You speak in a way that calms rather than controls. And that grace you carry has marked you. It's what sets you apart, even when others don't see it right away. There were people around them who couldn't understand this connection. Family members, friends, or voices from the past may have questioned it, doubted it, or tried to interfere. Some may have laughed, judged, or planted seeds of doubt, but heaven saw what they couldn't. And now, slowly, they are seeing it too, not with their eyes alone, but with their spirit. That's why rest has been hard for them. At night, when the world gets quiet, their thoughts drift back to you, not in a surface way, not as a distraction, but as a deep pull. They find themselves talking to God about you, sometimes without even realizing it, asking when, asking how, asking what the next step is, not because they are unsure anymore, but because they are ready. They are preparing their heart, preparing their courage, preparing for a moment they know will change both of your lives. They are no longer motivated by excitement alone. They are motivated by the fear of regret, by the realization that losing you would hurt more than facing their own vulnerability. They have reached the point where doing nothing feels more painful than stepping forward. Quietly, carefully, they are letting go of what doesn't align with this truth. They are cutting ties with voices that bring confusion, stepping away from emotional pressure, releasing people who only support them conditionally, not loudly, not dramatically, but completely, because they understand now that real love doesn't wait for a plus, it waits for alignment. They have chosen peace over popularity, conviction over comfort, truth over tradition, you over everyone else's opinion. And that kind of choice doesn't always look impressive to the world, but it moves heaven. They've accepted that not everyone will clap, not everyone will understand, not everyone will approve, but they don't need approval anymore. They need obedience to what they know is true. In their heart, they are not thinking short term. They are not imagining a temporary connection or a passing season. They are thinking about life with you, real life, the quiet mornings, shared prayers, cooking together in the evenings, planning trips, building a home, raising children, growing old, creating a legacy rooted in love, faith, and peace. They don't want moments. They want covenant. This doesn't feel like fantasy to them. It feels grounded. It feels serious. It feels like something God has been arranging behind the scenes. They believe heaven is aligning timing, conversations, opportunities, finances, and favor in ways they can't fully see yet, but deeply sense. What once felt impossible is beginning to feel inevitable. They are no longer entertaining other options, no longer distracted by what ifs, no longer watching from a distance, hoping someone else will make the first move. Something inside them has said, enough waiting, enough fear, enough delay. Choose fully, because they saw you, not just your beauty, but your soul. They saw your endurance, your patience, your loyalty, your ability to stay loving even when you were hurt. They saw how you didn't turn bitter when you had every reason to, how you stayed faithful in silence, how you carried yourself with dignity when it would have been easier to walk away. And that love changed them. It humbled them. It broke something open inside them. It forced them to face the parts of themselves that were still afraid, still immature, still hiding. They realized you weren't asking to be chased or convinced. You weren't begging to be chosen. You were simply waiting to be recognized. And now, they recognize you. They see you the way God sees you. Your depth, your softness, your strength, your tears, your loyalty, your quiet faith. And that realization has made them serious in a way they've never been before. When they come toward you, it won't be with half words or empty promises. It will be with intention, with clarity, with commitment. When they say, I choose you, it won't be just emotion speaking. It will be a decision rooted in faith. And when you hear it, you will feel something inside you finally relax. You will feel prayers you once whispered begin to breathe. Not because everything will suddenly be perfect, but because love will finally be expressed with action instead of delay. This is why this feels bigger than romance. Because when someone chooses you despite pressure, despite judgment, despite fear, despite tradition, that choice becomes spiritual. It becomes purposeful. It becomes alignment. The angels rejoice not because of a fairy tale, but because they see truth taking shape, fear being replaced with courage, silence turning into movement, love becoming grounded, real, and lived out. So if it feels like nothing has been happening, don't assume nothing is moving. Some of the deepest changes happen quietly. Some hearts shift privately before they move publicly. Some promises take time because they are being prepared, not delayed. Stay steady, stay soft, stay grounded. Protect your peace. Guard your heart without closing it, because if this is truly aligned, it will not arrive with confusion. It will arrive with clarity, with respect, with action, with a calm certainty that says, I am here, I am ready, I choose you. It is no longer a question of if. It is a question of when, and it is closer than you think.